What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the conversation. We are excited about this opportunity to talk to you all tonight. Coffee and conversation. Listen, this is do a favor. I want you to share. Everybody can share our topic conversation. It's going to be a great one tonight. You all enjoyed last week. Tonight we're going to be even better. We've got a great episode between will be with us today in topic conversation. We got the minute and information and we can take any share. We'll good thing that good brothers who keep the life where can be it's a great thing when you got friends and hospital to nothing all the way to breaking down it's the best way to sit now. The best way to be the kind of that you it's going in the room. It's going in the room. The Miller family, hey.
Hello. Hey guys. Hey everybody.
Hey. Well, listen. First, let me just take a moment to tell y'all thank you for taking some time out your busy schedule to join us for coffee and conversations, and we appreciate your time on the night. We're gonna make sure we make it quick because I know you have little people who you've got to attend to tonight.
And so if y'all hear screaming, I'm gonna try my best to not murder anyone tonight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what we all and to not kill them together, pal. We don't want.
They say that's frowned upon.
Who are they?
Who are they? Who are they to judge me?
Right. Judge you, and they don't pay no bills at your house, so mind their business. Right. Tell them mind all of their business.
Yeah.
But again, thank y'all for coming on. Me and my little brother Marvin go back to Mervo, and so we go back some years to have him and his beautiful wife.
I got back up today. Let's go.
Let's get it, bro. Let's get it. Listen, they're not gonna keep punking us. I mean, they ain't gonna try. They ain't gonna keep getting us like this. Listen,
yeah, I'm gonna cry in the car. Don't worry.
Everything we do, we open with the word of prayer. Pastor Kenise, would you all lead us in prayer today?
Eternal God, our Father, thank you for this time together. Thank you that you've allowed us to see another day. Lord, we ask right now that you would come into this conversation. Let it be what you want it to be. Touch those who will listen, touch those who will participate, and even let somebody be set free, saved, healed, delivered by what we will discuss on tonight. We love you, we adore you, and we most of all want you to get the glory out of this. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Yes. Amen. So you all know what we did last week. We were talking with another couple, Paul and Nikki Thompson, about keeping the flame in your relationship, keeping the fire in your marriage. And I wanted to ask you all because I'm a low key follower on social media. Marvin, I see everything you're doing. Kyrie, I see that love relationship that you all have together. And I wanted to give an opportunity for you all to talk about how you keep it interesting and keep it spicy in your marriage. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let y'all talk. The other day when y'all were dancing in the house, I was like, oh, look at that pregnant dance. Oh, that's so cute. Oh.
It was so funny because that was just like, that's something we do a lot or try to do a lot. And it was just a moment that I was feeling good. I'm like 1,000 months pregnant and I have arthritis and a lot of things going on. So that was a good night. And I was like, oh, we just relaxed and we vibing out to this music. I was like, babe, let's dance. And so we did that. And I had my little TikTok. I was like, oh, this would be a cute little moment for a TikTok while I'm up. And that has like almost 10,000 views out of nowhere now. And I'm like, I'm not like, neither one of us is this popular. This is hilarious that little piece of what we do that's so natural to us, like reach so many people so fast. Yeah. So like, that's one thing that is I think how we keep it alive is some things that are so natural. That's like our connection to music, the way we are, has grounded us from day one. And that's something we embrace on a daily basis. If there's nothing else we can do, we know our music will bring us right together.
Most of
Yeah.
He said most of the time.
Mad eclectic. She listens to everything. She listens to a little bit of everything, so you can't put her in a box.
Absolutely.
You can put me in a box.
You can put me in a box.
Jesus music,
Yes.
and you're gonna get some funk.
Yes.
Those only 2 gears I got.
Okay.
Everything else in between,
And some old school R&B.
yeah.
And he's iffy on that one. He's right. He's absolutely right.
Go.
Listen, I can drive 800 miles on some old school R&B and old rap. I'm gonna drive all the way, but I can't understand what these kids are saying. This fatty wop generation, I can't get with it. I'm like, what is he saying? Like,
That's still a
and this is how old I am. I'm good with it though. I'm good with it. But yeah, I saw that, and I saw how you all chemistry work on camera and off camera, and it's a beautiful thing. So first question I want to kind of ask you all to kind of lead into the conversation. What do you do to keep the spark going? Especially y'all got little people. So what do you do to kind of keep that romance going?
Well, it doesn't always have to be romantic things to keep us engaged. So I know how to push her buttons so much to the point that she'd be ready to fight me if she thought I was serious, because I'm like, I have a good poker face, if you will. I can just say something to agitate her so much, and she'll really think I'm like really serious. And then I'll be like, I'm clearly joking. Don't you know me at all? And that's just one way that how I have fun. There's a bit from a stand-up comedian that we watched, and this like one of those moments where you just do something to get on somebody's nerves, knowing full well how this whole thing is going to play out, and just keep doing it because that's your way to not ever be bored.
So the comedian was saying, like, the thing that he does, his wife is so particular about everything being neat and in order. So he'll go in and just switch a shirt or something around in the closet, knowing it will drive her crazy. So that's his thing. He does. He's like, as long as I can do this and get this reaction out of her, I'll never be bored in this marriage. And that's how we are. It's like, we love to have fun with each other. And those are the ways, like, he's not the type of typical person that you can do like regular play a game or anything like that. And he honestly is always hesitant to play games with me because he keeps saying I'm on this scholarly level somewhere and he's over here, which is not true. But
point of order, she recently just got a master's degree.
Okay, come through, masters
in psychology.
My wife is
so go on with whatever point you were trying to make.
So he rarely plays games.
Him and he's all right with it.
So he rarely plays games or anything. So our ways of having fun are different. But the common goal is like to just stay engaged. There's one thing that I saw on the Cosby Show that we do a lot together, and just to stay intimate and close, that I will never forget. They weren't doing anything freaky. They weren't like, oh, it's about to be popping. They just had a quiet moment to themselves one night. And I think Claire might have been like reading or something when Cliff comes in, something to that nature. He puts on the record player and sits down on the couch with her. He popped off that shoe and got to rubbing her foot. They had like some fruit on the table, just in the fruit bowl. He took out an apple, sliced that thing up, and he just let her recline on in. And they just eating this apple, listening to jazz. It was the sexiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And it was like, it didn't mean it had to lead necessarily to sex. That might have been the gateway, but it was so romantic, so intimate, so effortless.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So now that's how we keep it. It's like if we get an hour to ourselves, a couple hours, or if we get 5 minutes, take advantage of what's going to make us connect right here.
Your husband's looking at you like, do we have any apples in the house?
I'm here thinking about like, wait a minute, I can run to the store as soon as it's over with and go get me some fruit. Like,
that's how we got to being 75 pregnant.
Right.
So
Those foot reps. Excuse me.
listen, it's okay. This is it.
And see, we bribed them with lollipops. Like their grandmother came through with candy, and we weren't going to give them no candy. But I was like, if you take these lollipops and sit down while we do this.
Listen, we get it.
Hey.
Get it.
The threats have gone out around here already. So the blessing is we have a 15 and 13-year-old who can help out with the threats. Threats happen. And if you can hear all this stuff going on in the background here, like it's ridiculous. So no problem. It's no problem. But I do it. What I like what you all are talking about is that you all bring different things to the table. It's not always about going right to the bedroom. It's about and we watched the Cosby Show 1 million times in this house, literally 1 million times, and I never did that. I'm definitely going to try this Apple situation out. I may not rub no. I'm gonna try the Apple situation out. Like,
he fed her that fruit right off the butter knife.
Right. Here you go, boo. But I the uniqueness of each relationship. And I think a lot of times people miss that each relationship is unique to itself. And what works for one couple don't work for all couples. But what we're discovering is, as we're talking to a bunch of couples, all of us in here have made up their mind to try something that works for us.
Mm-hmm.
Kenisa and I, what we do is we enjoy riding out. We would get in the car and go. Don't have no destination in mind exactly where we're going to go. Don't have no real plan. Wherever highway I get on is what highway we get on, and wherever we stop at to have lunch or dinner is where we stop at.
That's it.
And people were like, "Well, where did y'all go for a ride?
Out.
Where did y'all go? Out.
Yeah.
How long is that gonna be? Whenever we get back, because it's not something that always has to have a plan, and that works for us. Not having a plan. So one day, my mother-in-law was with us. We left lunch and we drove to the Eastern Shore, right? We were driving to the Eastern Shore. We were driving to the Eastern Shore to go to the beach. And it didn't happen. Like my wife was like, too many COVID cases. We ain't going. I said, okay. So we stopped somewhere and then we meant to go take on an ice cream date, and the turn to get on to the ice cream place that we know about. Mm-hmm. And the next thing we know, I said, all right, well, I'm going to Annapolis. And we drove to Annapolis and got ice cream. And all it was us driving and get some ice cream. And I told her mother, said, this is what you don't see. This is what we do that nobody knows about. We would drive to go get ice cream. Yeah. That's just what we do, how we spend time together. And then I feel like in an area of romance, it's just as much work as it was when you were dating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If not more.
I was just going to say it's definitely
if not more. Because I feel like you change and grow, and you have to be able to change and grow with each other.
I would offer up that women change and grow. Men are very basic by nature.
Really? Talk about it, man. Talk about it.
Because you're not the same as you were when you were that 19-year-old boy that I was courting and dating then. Would you say you're the same then? Would you say your needs are the same as they were then?
They are now.
See what I'm saying? So it's both sides. It's both sides, auntie.
Psychologist.
I think we all grow. But I think that some of the for Marvin's defense, there are some basic needs the guys. Like the things that I'm doing now at 36. He's not wasn't doing at 20. But but the basic needs are saying, I want you to come down looking sexy, all good up. Put on your red dress and all your hair down. Put that one that I like to smell good on you. Do you want my attention? Men are visual.
Quite.
How else we can flip it? Men are visual. We like what we have, and if we married you or we're in a relationship with you, there's something about you that we like. Mm-hmm. And at some point, especially during this whole season, like, don't forget that we like what we see.
Correct. And to that point, it don't matter what's actually going on. All we see is that.
Thank you.
He said that.
What else is going on? You could have diarrhea. You still You still can get it. And and that's just how men are programmed. It's not, it ain't no scientific fact to it, ain't no deepness to it. Men like what they see.
Yeah.
And if they married you, they're in a relationship with you, they like what they have. And so let's not forget. And so you know how back in the day everybody would dress up, get ready to go on a date. They put that, I'm gonna make you beating your face, you doing all this stuff that you can make sure your hair lined up right. That's the same effort you gotta do once you say I do. It's the same effort that you gotta do 3 years into. The same effort you gotta put out when you got kids and you breastfed and you done all the things and you work the double. All the things that we do to make life work, we still have to put that same effort in, or in that more, to make it work now, because now we have more obstacles.
Absolutely.
We got more obstacles now.
Absolutely.
With no children involved. Now there's a family involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keep that same romance and that same fire with the family. One thing I did is that I planned, when during COVID, I planned a chef to come in, cook for us. We had an event here because we couldn't go out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like we were in a desert.
Mm.
I felt like we were in a desert. Not saying our relationship was struggling, but the romance wasn't popping.
Yeah. It hit a dry patch. Yes.
Yeah, that happened.
And we would be honest, and everybody kind of be, is like, sometimes life will make your chemistry fall out of whack.
Yes.
And it's real work trying to get that chemistry refocused and re-engaged and repurposed. It's work going through those motions.
Yeah, and it's just like she was saying, the whole evolution piece. It's just like, granted, your chemistry is off, but you can't like necessarily depend on what worked 5 years ago, let alone 5 months ago. It might be something totally different, and you have to be open to figuring it out, because if you don't, this ain't gonna work.
And that's a good point. Like, that's the thing that I think we try and remember above all, is to be completely open, completely vulnerable with each other, completely everything on the table. Like, nothing is off the table. It doesn't matter how it's going to make us feel. We can address those feelings. We're both entitled to feel how we're going to feel about it, but it has to come out. Like,
Kyrie, don't kill the kids. Come on back. Come on back.
It has to come out. It has to be shared, because when you don't, then you're just adding more barriers to what is already keeping you from being close. And that's something we realized. Like, there was a time where it took a second to figure out, but ultimately, like, we were having issues because he was stressed, and that wasn't something he was about to put on me. That wasn't something that he wanted to even admit, like, to himself. He kept looking for physical reasons. Baby, I'm sick. I need to lose weight. I need to do this, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. So it wasn't until, like, we really had to sit down and unpack it that you realize, like, what the real root of the disconnect is. And you can't be afraid to let that happen when you're in a relationship, when you're in marriage, when you're committed. It's just like kind of when you go before the Lord, like, and you have to be completely open to get what it is that he's trying to give you. It's the same thing. Like, he's made you to be that with your partner. He's called you to be that one with your partner, and you can't be that if y'all are closed off any doors at all. Open all them doors, air it all out, let everything out, so you can really get back to connecting how you want to. And it wasn't until, like, we got to that, and I was like, babe, like, you're carrying a lot. That's a lot. Let's work on unpacking that and getting you back to feeling comfortable. Whatever we got to do to get you comfortable and get you back in your groove, that's what we're going to do. And I mean, we went through, like, I didn't care if it was, I need to massage you for an hour, if it needs to be something tantric happening up in here, if you need me to go put any of them outfits on, whatever you need, we will make sure we do that to get you right. If it's too hot, I'm going to turn this air all the way down. Like, whatever it is, I want you to be completely out of your mind because that's where you are. You're stressed, and we need to break through that. And I think that's where a lot of people don't kind of commit all the way. They're scared to get down to that level of bare.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's necessary.
I appreciate your saying. I appreciate the honesty that you have. That's real. As you that it's three parts of our marriage.
Right.
Christ is the center of our marriage, and so it has to be that point where you are not afraid to be naked and vulnerable.
Right.
I think that's what we talked about last week was transparency and vulnerability. Without vulnerability, there can't be intimacy.
Right.
You have to be able to be vulnerable and transparent to be intimate with your spouse.
Right.
So it's very important.
And that's where true healing comes in. True, really growth. Let me ask you this question: have you all seen? Y'all been together for a while now. Have you all seen some of the transitions in your marriage? Okay, we went through this rough patch. We went through this almost kind of re-engaging and relearning each other, and that energy and that positivity going.
It's funny because it's just like we go through those things, but we don't call them what they are when it's actually happening. It's years later when we have these revelations about, oh, we've been through this, we've been through that, we've been through this peak, we've been to this valley, we've been in this dry space, yeah, we've seen a little bit of everything. So like you said, we've got some time in. So we dated for 10 years
before we got engaged.
And then, so we've got a total of, let's see, this will be 16 years total, wow. 5 of which are married. So yeah, I don't have any, I don't have a master's degree in psychology to expound on this.
Come on, bro.
So I would have to defer to you.
No, I mean, and I feel like I'm just like, I can't express it as eloquently as the bishop, but that's what I call Paul, the bishop, because he can go. But I think that when we started this thing, we knew exactly how we wanted to be with each other, if that makes any sense. Like, he's been in church all his life. I have not. I have come to the Lord a completely different way in my own time, much later in life. So we knew first we needed to be unified on that front. And I think that kind of helped us out a lot more than some other couples starting out, because that was kind of first for us. Especially because I come from a really, really crazy family. So like when he didn't run, I was like, okay, well, look, let's talk about what we want us to be then, since you're staying around. So one of the things that helped us is figuring out how to communicate with each other throughout the years. So when a lot of those things come up, what we take away is another piece of, this is now how we are better at talking to each other, how we're better at getting things brought up, how we're better at scheduling and organizing and being together, as well as apart, and identifying our own spaces. I know, baby. So we are constantly talking about everything. There's nothing like that we don't share with each other. Some like it's like a giant cliche, but that really is what it is. If I can't share it with him, it's a problem. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I need to be dealing with. It's a problem. It's going to come back to him one way or another. He is my sounding board. He is my therapist, whether he knows it or not. Everything comes back to him. So there's nothing that we don't go through, that we don't break down and process. It's just like, it's hard to explain, because to us, it's just talking. Yeah. It really is just talking. We will talk till we're blue in the face sometimes.
She will talk. I was set
I
there
clearly am
and
the
use
talker.
these.
I clearly am the talker. But that's a thing though, because you had to learn how to use those too.
Oh yeah.
Because for a long time it would be like I'm talking or we're trying to have this talk and grow, but he's not hearing things a certain way. It's processing completely different in his mind. So now I have to understand how he's hearing it. So that's a whole nother thing. But it's to us, it's literally just talking through every situation. And it's like, I mean, I was gonna say our family motto, but we can't say that. But there's like a little joke that we have this little family motto that's like, nah, man, we're not. Never mind. Like, no, nothing is too big. Nothing is too insignificant. Nothing is off limits for us to work through, to talk about. And it's like we're pretty level-headed about it. Nobody gets around here trying to break down walls anymore. Like we've been through that. We've been through the throwing glasses across the room. We've been through the I'm gonna take your car and go out. You know, you're not gonna have, you know, we've been through that. We've been through holes in the walls. We've been through that and pretty much just talked out of it, you know, in moments where we couldn't pray together. You have to have those moments where it's like, we in trouble. We need to do something. Mm-hmm. So there's another level of communication that I think is only God given to us in that moment. Like we started our wedding with prayer because we knew like there's no way any of this works without God in the center. There's always been that core that's given us like another level of just being able to piece it together communication wise that I think is what makes us work like nobody else. It's a whole different type of communication that we do.
That's amazing. I'm looking at Marvin and I'm looking at you and I'm like, Marvin has always been quiet. Marvin has always been real laid back, real chill, real go with the flow. And in my mind, while I'm thinking about all the years that he's talking about, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be back here playing the drums. I'm just cool in the game. And I see the development and the growth. It's a beautiful thing to see the transition. I can go see that same cat, just kind of cool, kind of laid back. Maneuver him like that, but I see how you have grown together, and how your love has cultivated a generation to see real love. The reason why we want to do all on, I know y'all have to get ready to jump off. The reason why we want to do all on.
Get you some water, please.
Benny, get Mackenzie some water, please.
Is to really, I feel like in our generation, you don't see a lot of healthy marriages.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fear for me. I grew up in a family that had a healthy marriage. My mom and dad were married my whole life. Mm-hmm. They were married my whole life. That's all I saw. Mm-hmm. And I saw what marriage should look like. And I saw my grandparents married. And I saw the generations of that. And I desire that when Kenisa and I got married, like, listen, I ain't doing this again. This is it. We in this for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And I said it verbally, but I had to really believe it in my heart. Mm-hmm. And that took some time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because that's where the work comes in.
Huh?
That's where the work comes in. It's one thing to say it and want to do it.
Right.
Want to be there, but once it comes down to your feet hitting that pavement, it's like, oh, wait a minute, see this coming. Give me a second.
Right. It's a whole different experience when it's cool with all y'all doing shopping and hanging out dating. It's a whole nother experience when you guys sit down and be like, listen, these are the issues that we're having. These are the issues we're having. Because you spoke to something about, you're saying something, he processing it totally different than what you're saying. Even Kenisa and I still work through that now. Like, I'd be like, well, you said this, that's not how I said it. But in my mind, that's how you said it.
Oh, yeah, he transforms everything.
And in my mind, you came for me like I was one of the kids. I was like, yo, who was you talking to?
I'm going to stop you right there. Where'd you just say? In your mind.
Right, but that's that communication piece.
Yeah.
Because men have triggers. Like women have triggers. You have something that remind you of your past or remind you of something that you experienced. And if those are not communicated through, if those are not talked through, then you have this barrier that it's hard to overcome. It's a barrier that's hard to overcome. I know that you all told me that you all have something to do at 8 o'clock. I am not going to hold you. If y'all get time, that's fine. If y'all don't have time, I'm grateful for the time that you are able to spend with us on tonight. And so we look forward to having y'all back again. I know you all can't be linger long, but I appreciate your time tonight. Can you all let's send some hearts out for them who the Miller family who came, y'all who are watching. Let's send some hearts out to the Miller family who came. I'm going to move y'all off the screen because I know that you have a strict time schedule with them kids, and do what y'all got to do, man. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch with y'all after the show. All right.
Yeah, next time they'll already be in the bed. They'll be in the bed. They'll be somewhere away from us, so we can sit down and really chop it up. Focus. But thank you all for having us. We're really.
I mean, like beyond flattered.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna have y'all back with the Thompson family. We're gonna all have this adult conversation. I'm gonna put it out there next week, so you prepare yourselves a little bit better. Okay.
Got you.
All right, family. Love y'all.
All right.
All right. All right. So listen, do me a favor. Share. I need you all to do me a favor. We can take this into part 2. Share this broadcast. If we share it. Mother Pennington said something I want to kind of look at.
If your spouse doesn't want to build or stop building because life incident, I think anymore, how do you handle that?
If your spouse doesn't want to build or stop building because of life, that's just you've got to re-engage them. And this one I'm kind of make it personal. I watched my mother bring my father back to life. In a very real sense, I watched my mother bring my father back to life, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I watched a revival happen. A lot of y'all do not know that my father. Well, finish your comment, Ma. My mother did not. My father was sick for a long time, and him being sick affected life for us, but you wouldn't know he was sick. I watched love bring back to life. And so after he was diagnosed with heart failure and kidney failure, he started a business. We bought a house. Family did. I would suggest to say our family did better after he was sick than it was when he was well, and that's crazy. That my father, we did better after he was sick.
Yeah,
that's a testament. When he was well. So to answer your question, you gotta love him back to life. It's gotta be the willingness to work through it. It's gotta be the willingness to work. I think a lot of times, and Marvin and Kyrie kind of hit it a minute ago, that depression is real. That stuff is real. And if you're not working through that, if you're not talking through that, if you're not able to speak to that, it becomes a long-standing issue.
It does. You have to really. I think last week we talked about being unselfish. You have to really be unselfish in that you signed up for a lifetime of events with your spouse. It wasn't a for better, but I'm gonna bail out when times get worse. So you have to be willing to be unselfish enough to continue to love. Don't give up on love, regardless of what. Unless, and I always give this caveat: unless you're not safe. If you're not safe, then get out.
That's the difference between being unsafe and working through love issues.
Right.
That's a whole different topic that we can deal with after we finish this up, dealing with abuse and all that, we can deal with that. But the premise of it is when we perform weddings, we said what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. And a lot of times, what people don't realize, it ain't the outside influences. It's really us.
Well, first of all, what does put asunder mean?
So basically, what God has joined together, let nobody separate. Let no man come in between. Let no man destroy. And the destruction of relationships are more than outside influences. It's us. Here's a great example. And this is going to be kind of testy, and I got some members on here who are watching. You can't allow your single friends to comment on your marital relations.
Oh my God. Let's say that again.
You can't allow your single friends to jump in to your marital relation.
That's the truth.
Somebody said amen besides my mom.
Period. That's the truth. That's like asking the ophthalmologist to speak about your cardiac condition.
Not saying they're not good people. It's not an attack on the person.
It's not. But you're not qualified to speak here.
Because that dynamic is not where you are. My mother said something to me, and she was like, "Don't tell everybody what you and Kenise argue about. Don't tell your family when you and Kenise have an issue, because your family will hold a grudge against her. Y'all back together and in love, and your family will be mad, and you wonder why at the family cookout nobody want to talk to them, because you share all of your issues with everybody in the family. So now everybody got an issue with her when you all back in love again."
This is true.
And so I know I'm saying some stuff that people may not like, but it's the truth. It's not an attack or a counterattack on anybody. But the reality of it is there's some things about your marriage that you should hold sacred, that you should hold dear. And then other part is, and I'm going to say this to you, find you a couple who can help guide you through some stuff.
Yes.
That's important.
Or at least, if not guide you through, give you wise counsel.
Wise counsel.
And they're not going to say, "Girl, he been doing that dumb stuff the whole time. I've been telling you, go ahead and get out of there."
Here's the other part I'm going to push. Find you people who will pray with you.
Mm-hmm.
Too often, we want people who will jump on the bandwagon of talking about them, and not jump on the bandwagon of praying for us. Does that make sense? You got to find somebody who will pray with you, who will go to God for you, be like, "Hey, listen, y'all going through it. I'm going to pray for y'all," and really mean what they're doing, what they're saying. Right. Because it makes a difference in your relationship. It makes a difference in your marriage. It makes a difference in what you're dealing with, because you want to have somebody who will pour into you. One of my members called me who was going through something, and I gave him some real godly advice. Like, "Hey, you may not be right on this one. You may need to reevaluate. You may need to pray. You may need to kind of work that out. And if you're going to be successful, you got to have people in your life who say, 'Hey, you may not be right.' I got people in my life who will tell me, 'Jamie, yeah, you may be off with that.'"
You need people that's going to hold you accountable. Because
marriage is accountability.
People will be quick to say, "Yeah, girl, he was wrong," or "Yeah, she was wrong," and they're not right. But they'll do that out of relationship because they don't want you to be wrong as their friend or as their, peer or whatever.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna move on. Miss Zelda said something. Some married friends are too friends too, because they could be jealous.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's real, because there are some people, and ladies, you can't share everything with your female friends about your man.
Mm-hmm.
Men, you can't share everything about your wife with your homeboys, because there could be somebody trying to take your place real quickly, especially in today's society. I should get some hearts going on right there. Like I should see like a whole bunch of hearts just going up, because I think all of us have fell victim to sharing personal stuff with somebody who really didn't have our best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
All of us have fell victim to giving somebody too much access to our personal life, who really wasn't qualified to have access to our personal life, who really used it to hurt us and not help us.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We can't be ashamed of the mistakes we made in our relationship. We've got to be able to talk about them and live through them, and not keep holding them people's mistakes against them.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my advice. And again, Kenisa and I are not relationship experts. We just know Jesus, and God has given us some things to kind of help. Is you got to be able to forgive.
That's big.
That's something people struggle with. I forgive you, but I forget. That's not real forgiveness. If every time I turn around, you bring it back up again, that's not really forgiving. That's like I'm holding on to the next opportunity you do something wrong to bring it back up again.
Yep. I'm holding over your head.
That's not real forgiveness. If I wronged you and we talked about it and you said I forgive you, we're moving on, you can't keep bringing it back up again. You can't keep bringing it back up again. Mother Penalty asked a question. Thank you, Mother Penalty, because you asked some good questions tonight. What do you think is more important, sex or communication?
Communication.
Why?
All day. Because without communication, like you can't have a healthy relationship without communication. You can have sex with anybody. Sex is a dime a dozen.
How good sex? Good sex ain't a dime a dozen.
Communication.
Don't ask me no question. You want me so I feel like it is. I feel like they both have equal value to me.
I think sex is important, but I don't think it's if there's a choice to be made, whether it's sex or communication, we need to communicate. Because if we walking around mad, angry, bitter, and we're not communicating about that, it's going to affect our sex life.
You can have good angry sex.
You could. I'm not.
Oh. Never have angry?
No.
Okay. So,
wait a
minute. No, let me answer. Let me answer. I think it goes hand in hand. I think communication will give your marriage longevity. Sex will keep your marriage engaged. For guys, and I said this earlier, guys are physical. We are visual. We can talk to people in the face, but guys need that physical touch. Guys need that physical interaction. God, listen, we could be beefing all day, and you tell a guy, "Come on," he gonna be ready, Freddy. It's just the nature of guys. That's just how we're made up. The wind blow, you ready to go? we can make it happen. So for guys, that's important. For guys, the sex in a marriage is really important to the success of a marriage. For the success of a marriage as a couple, communication is crucial. If you're gonna grow together, you're gonna have to communicate. So Linda says, sex is a skill. It's nothing without communication. So let me ask this question. I'm about to hit the head. So what if you have great communication and bad sex? You got the communication is on point, but the bedroom is off.
Well, you communicate about what can be done to make it better. I mean,
no, I'm saying so because, and I want y'all to comment on this. Like, what if the bedroom, the communication is on point? That she talking about how she feel, he talking about how they feel. We working through how we're talking about it, but when it comes to the room, it's trash. You're left unfulfilled.
You communicate about what is wrong and how to make it better. If you have that level of communication, you should be able to communicate that. Now, if you don't, if you have intimacy issues and communication issues, it's a recipe for disaster. Because somebody's gonna step out.
So that's what you think?
I did. I feel like.
So in communication, we're saying, okay, listen, you need to work on this. How do you have that conversation? How do you be like, you ain't hitting on nothing. You ain't
not like that. That's not how you have it.
Yeah, but that's a real comment. I feel like, and I'm gonna be 100% transparent. I feel like that the reason why I say they both have value is because in marriage, it is spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. All four parts have equal value.
I think that's where counseling might come into play. Like, either we need to figure out if there's a medical condition that's causing this disconnect, if you will, or we need to go and sit on somebody's couch and discuss what's happening and why this area is lacking. I think it's that important. Like, if you can't fix it, if it can't be fixed with communication, with talking between the two of you, you need to add a third party. Not to the bedroom, to the conversation, to the communication part.
So here's the other part. So my mother tells a story all the time, and I wish I could get her on here real quick, about my dad being sick and God taking the physical desire away from her. Taking the physical desire away from her while he could not perform. Mm-hmm. And then when he could, God gave it back to her. I think that's an extreme in love. That you love your mate so much so that if medically there's an issue, your desire turns on when their desire.
That's an unselfish kind of love.
That's a real love. That's a beautiful love that you can say, if there's some medical, my emotions shut down because you can't fulfill that part of me.
Because at that time, his need was greater than the need for that kind of intimacy. His medical need, for which his life depended on, was greater than the fulfillment of intimacy, sexual intimacy.
And I'm gonna ask this to the ladies who are on here, and then to my wife who was sitting beside me. Can you be fulfilled in marriage without sex?
I would say yes. I would say yes because.
So I ain't gonna give you no more. You gonna be all right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, I know couples who've been married for 50 years and more, 50 years plus. And clearly at 50 years of being married, some people ain't having sex. And they're still happy. So I think that if you truly love somebody, that's not a determining factor of whether or not you're fulfilled in that marriage. Now, if that's something that you like absolutely can't live without, and that's you, then that's you, and that's something that you guys would have to work through. But in my opinion, no, like you don't need sex to be absolutely fulfilled in situations where it's not available. Now, if it's available and it's just not happening, then that's something we need to discuss. Because, yeah.
I think that's all right. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't think guys can do that. Men are wired differently. Now, if Kenise is sick or something's going on physically, I'm not going to be insensitive to her struggle. I'm not going to be insensitive. I'm not going to be a jerk, but like, yo, you still gotta perform even if you got an issue. I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, I think it is, if there's ways that we can make it work for each other, that we come out of being selfish and say, hey, let's do this to make this work. Hey, let's try this to make it work. If it's medical, there's nothing you can do about that. If my dad had kidney failure and heart failure and he was medically, I couldn't do it. But if it's some other issue, we shouldn't be selfish in marriage and not do it. I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be kind of marriage. You cannot be selfish in any way. Mm-hmm. You can't. I think marriages fail because people start to get that I me thing.
What about what's her name? B. Smith.
Well, her husband.
She had Alzheimer's, and her husband went and got a girlfriend and moved in the house.
So are you asking me my opinion about that?
Absolutely. What's your opinion?
I wouldn't move my girlfriend in the house.
What?
It's like I'm just joking. She understands. Yes. No, I feel like that was a selfish move.
Laziness is absolutely selfish.
Absolutely, yes.
Laziness is the definition
of selfishness.
I think selfishness is in the definition for laziness. So yes, absolutely.
B. Smith. Oh, you went back to it. Mm-hmm. So I feel like B. Smith's husband was wrong. B was sick. She had lost her mind, and so in those instances, it's the job of the person that you in covenant with. As the person you're in covenant with, that you have a requirement to help and to be there. The Bible says, "To death do you part." That's the goal. The goal to marriage is to make it to the end of marriage. It should never be the goal in the middle of marriage to be like, okay, you sick. And we say in sickness and health. We stand for people say in sickness and in health. She was sick. So it shouldn't have been a default to get with somebody else because she's sick. It would have been he should have stayed rocked with her all the way to the end.
Exactly.
So my mother-in-law said the girlfriend was helping take care of her. Now that's weird.
Yeah.
You got you and your girlfriend sleeping in one room and your wife. That's a little much. That's a little.
Yeah, he didn't honor her.
Yeah, he did not honor his wife.
He didn't honor her at all. At all. Like, he did not honor her. That would be, let's say the shoe's on the other foot and my dear husband loses his mind literally. And
I don't know if my mind, my body still works. Ain't nothing wrong with my body. My mind may be gone, but take advantage of this body. Good. Because B could have still got it.
No.
Why not?
If you have Alzheimer's, can you remember how to do that?
That's natural. How you forget how to do? Listen, that's natural. B. Smith probably still could have done it.
No. I watched somebody die from Alzheimer's. They're not doing it. Sorry. Anyway, but that would be like if he lost his mind and I say, all right, come on over here, Jethro, and come on in the house and take care of my husband.
My sense of discernment would shout him.
Like, no, that's not okay. So he was wrong. Anyway, move on.
So that's how you. So you giving me that tap because I answered the question correctly? Is that what okay. All right. But that's my point of view. I feel like Marriage is for grown people. Kenny say, I came in at the wrong part.
Hey, Kendra.
That's Kendra?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's Kendra?
Oh my gosh. Right now, really?
I'm sorry. Okay. Marriage is for grown people. Relationships and marriage are for grown people. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I feel like we have to get to the place where we understand that when we're married to somebody, our responsibility is to put them before us.
Yes.
It's the responsibility is to put them first. That's the job. Every day I get up and go to work. I don't go to work because I want to go to work. I go to work because that's my responsibility to take care of my wife and children. That's my responsibility.
In that, though, I would have to say you have to be very, very careful who you marry and who you decide to do your life sentence with, your covenant relationship with. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, I could hear somebody say, I ain't putting them first if they don't put me first. If you're in a relationship with someone who you know is not going to put you first, you knew they wasn't going to put you first when you got married. You knew they were not going to put you first when you were dating. There are always red flags. So if you choose then to continue in a covenant relationship with this person that you know is not 100% about you, that's your choice. You have to be very, very careful.
Very, very. I knew you was gonna wrap that up like that.
Yeah, that was reading.
Yeah, you just dropped it.
My bad. Yeah.
You dropped it. I gave you the ball.
It's my attention span. You gotta be very careful though. Like you really have to be careful because, if you are in a relationship with someone who is not putting you first and they constantly put themselves first, you really should consider getting some help.
The other part is now, and Danelle, what's up? The other part is we gotta put them first. You've got to work through your inconsistencies and your inadequacies.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work through those things. Those are challenges that we face that we don't want to work through.
Danelle said, you don't need what, Danelle?
Those are challenges that we gotta work through, and we gotta be honest about where we are with it. And I think a lot of times that's where we have problems, that when we don't work through our challenges or inadequacies or struggles, because it's easy to deal with it from there's no problem. But the reality of it is we got some stuff inside of us. It brings out the worst in you. It can bring out the best in you. It can bring out the worst in you. But the responsibility is, if we're going to grow together and we're going to be whole, we've got to be willing to work through all of it to be who God is calling us to be.
Absolutely.
My mother said, "Who knows?" Ma, check your text messages. Ma, check your text messages. We got a couple more minutes and we can wrap this thing up. Oh, it's out already? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to Coffee and Conversation. This segment has been brought to you by the letter J. This is brought to you by the letter J. Thank you for taking the time out your busy schedules to come and just have this coffee conversation. I'm not out of coffee, but we're out of conversation. My wife lets me know that we have been here for 1 hour. Tune in next week. Join us Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. as we worship God together in spirit and in truth. We're going to be back in our sanctuary. Just the leadership and some of the members will be there, and we'll be live back in the sanctuary of the Renewed Church. And we will be having service at 9:30. You can follow us on social media. And join us next week. I'm so grateful that we'll have Minister Paul Thompson and Nikki Thompson, and then the Miller family will be back. We're going to be discussing some hard-hitting topics, or as we are working through this. I do want to address this before we go. My mother said, "Who knows their arrangements?" So I'm gonna ask this question, and we're getting up off here. Do you feel like God can bless an open marriage?
Yikes.
Do you all feel like God can bless an open marriage? I'm gonna defer while you all are processing it. I'm gonna defer to, and please comment. Please comment. Let me know how you all feel about open marriage. Please comment. Let me know what you're thinking.
Oh, hello. Hello.
She just dropped in. That's our last minute special guest jumped in. And so my mother, who is here, and Beauty is her name, who was here, I want to ask her a question. She said, "Who knows what their arrangement was?" Ma.
Yes.
I'll turn on some light because you're in the dark.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it on right now.
And then talk to us really quick in these next couple of moments about what you meant by if God can bless an open marriage.
Well, the reason why I said that because maybe she knew she was getting sick, and she wanted her husband to be fulfilled, but wanted to be there, and she didn't want him to lack in that area, but she wanted him to be there. So she might have met the woman and said, "Okay." You don't know because, like I said, no one knows really what happens in a relationship. So some women are open to, "I'm too sick to do this for you, but I don't want you to be without."
But that's not biblical.
I mean, huh?
That's not biblical, though.
It's not. I didn't say it was biblical.
Because if Jamie did that, I might have to kill him.
No, I'm just saying I would have killed my husband if it was the other way around too. But I honestly feel like when my husband was sick, when things couldn't happen, I didn't feel like it was a part of me. I didn't feel like I wanted to be bothered in that man, and I didn't want that. But I'm saying some women believe, or some men, well, very seldom I heard about a man doing that, but some women believe that they really want their husband to be fulfilled in every area.
No.
So
I'm sick. We sick.
So they allow things to happen. You don't even have to be sick anymore nowadays. You can just be doing it. But I'm just saying that we don't know what their arrangements were. So because we don't know what the arrangements were, some people say, "Well, they were in the bed, he had her in the room together." You don't know what their arrangements were. Because everything that you and Jamie talk about, we don't know. Because that's between you and Jamie. And if you was to come and say, "Well, Jamie liked this," I can't say he didn't like it because he may not have ever told me, but because of your marriage, that's totally different. That's somebody from outside telling you. I'm his mother, but I can't tell you everything about what Jamie thinks with you.
Miss Zelda said that they did an interview on TV and she did not know her.
Okay. Who did the interview?
The husband and the girlfriend did an interview with B on TV about B, and that she didn't know a girlfriend never met B while she was well. She met her when she was sick. But so you and Daddy had a wonderful marriage, from my perspective. From my perspective,
mine also.
Okay. To see that growth and that dedication, and knowing what he went through that we hadn't shared with the world, and knowing what you all and things that you probably never shared with Samantha and I about what y'all experienced. How did you all keep that romance going? How did you all keep that fire and desire going?
Well, because God was the center of our life, and He still is the center of mine. Because of God and open communication, and even when, because everyone doesn't communicate the same, but knowing your spouse, knowing if their communication, if their love language isn't just talking, is just feeling. I know you're a touchy feely person, that's their love language, or and when they're not expressing that, just know your partner, know what they want, even if they're not speaking it. You gotta know it. Know your partner. Um, God was the center of that relationship. He was the center of it, and we didn't move without him. And the thing about that was, my husband led it. He was the leader of that. He led the family that way. You know that. He led the family. I've been in church all my life, but even I was in church, but church wasn't in me. And so my husband started going to church, and then I really started going and understanding because of my husband. Um, and he led it. You know, on Sunday mornings we had to be ready. If not, bye, and you better get there. You know, you better make sure get the kids and let's go because we have a job to do, and I'm not going to stop. You're going to catch up. And it wasn't mean. Wasn't mean about it. He was very pleasant about it because he wasn't a mean man. But he meant his family was going to be God centered, God led, and nothing was going to stop that. No clothes, no shoes, no purse, no money, no nothing. None of that was going to stop because our family was going to be God led.
Miss Zelda
So,
said Gail loved her man.
and she knows it too because Zelda was there.
I
Zelda was
mean,
there.
Zelda's been there around my
Zelda
whole
was
life.
there. Zelda was there.
I don't know.
Zelda.
Right, Miss Zelda been around my whole life.
That's what I'm saying. Zelda was there. She saw the relationships. You know, she saw us. So um it wasn't like um it was God centered. Let me just say that God was in the center of our relationship. He was in the forefront, you know, and I thank God for him, you know, for being there, and I thank God for the man showing and teaching his family godly ways.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this question. Do you feel like? So you never answered my question. Like, how did you keep the romance in your relationship? But you said you had to know you had to know each other, know with ticks. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So I remember. I'm gonna put this out there on.
Put it on out there, son. Put it on
My
out there.
mama made me take pictures of her laying in the bed eating my daddy fruit. I feel like I should get a check for that right now. There are pictures in that book, and so y'all should be laughing right now. Some pictures. You ever go to my mama's house?
I was in my leopard.
She was in her leopard drawers. And she was in her yeah, listen, but but I may need counseling. But it was, you could see the love affair. And I said that to say, you could see the love affair. It was, that's where I get all my romance from. My mom and my daddy. That's where I get, you should be thanking God and my mom and daddy.
I do, every day.
Yeah, every day. You should thank God and honor your mother-in-law. Real heavy.
I do.
Don't call her
Gail.
Right.
What is that, Gail?
This is the thing. This is the thing, and we were very poor. We were very poor. I mean, poor. And if we got some money enough to have an ice cream cone together to just for the two of us and get away from the kids or whatever, if somebody watch the kids, he would call me up and say, "Come on, I'm gonna take you on a date," and our date would we'll go get some ice cream, ice cream cone.
That's first date.
We would go get an ice cream cone and sit in the car and laugh and talk, eating an ice cream cone. And that was our date because we didn't have any money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it took, and to make it work and to make each other appreciate. We had to know we appreciated one another. It wasn't just talk. It was just show. Just don't talk it. Don't say I love you. Show me you love me. Because showing me you love me is better to me than saying you love me. Because those are they can be empty words to some people.
Yep.
we when we would get a break from the kids, sometimes we were so exhausted we would come home and get in the bed and then get up and go to the movies if we had movie money, things like that, or watch a movie at house, because we had HBO then, and we would come and it may have been a movie that the children couldn't watch, and we would sit down and watch the movie and get us a beer or get us some wine and sit there and eat it. Or he wasn't into crabs, but he would always get me 6 crabs, and we could afford 6 crabs, stuff like that. Things it didn't cost much because we didn't have much, but it meant so much.
Wow.
It meant so much, you know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, nothing couldn't stop us. Nothing but death couldn't stop us because we was in love. We was in love,
I said this.
and I liked him.
Yeah, that's
I
important.
was in love with him, but I liked him.
That's important. That's very important.
I liked him.
I said this a couple moments ago, but I said Daddy did better after he was sick than he did before. We accomplished more him being ill than he did when he was well.
Oh my. He started a business. He started his own business.
And was putting me through college and and making sure we had a home and gave me a credit card.
We bought a home.
Right, gave me a credit card.
And purchased you 2 different vehicles.
2 different, and the credit card that I maxed out. We ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna talk about I maxed out that credit card.
And your $900 cell phone bills.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're gonna do on my.
Okay.
Come on back, girl. Let me tell my own story. But to see that the testimony of you can recover and do well with a Christ-centered marriage and a love affair that will last a lifetime. That was hope for me, that trouble don't last always. That was, I was sitting here listening to you talk, and that's the first thing that just kind of dropped in my spirit, that you said that the financial troubles y'all had, and as y'all got older, the financial troubles got less and less. As y'all grew together, things got less and less. Y'all still had other issues, but that wasn't always the issue. That wasn't always the problem. That wasn't always the situation. And we saw the bad times. I remember having the backwards Nike check. Didn't know I was, and it was see through, and people saw my chest. I didn't know we were poor. And because we might have been poor in money, we were never poor in love.
Never poor in love.
We were never poor in love. And so sometimes you got to remember, and we're gonna leave it on this. Sometimes the biggest value to people is not what they can financially possess, but is what they can pour into you.
Yes.
The value of marriage is way more than money. It's way more than money.
Yes.
Way more than money.
Money is important to any relationship because you got to make it. But the value of a relationship is way more than how much your check is that you bring home. The value to the relationship is what you all pour into each other. Do we have each other's back? For sure.
And I always say this: when you have somebody there that's pushing you, you can build anything from nothing. But you got to have somebody there who trusts you with your life, trust you with their life. And you got to believe in that person. I don't care how many times it looks like it's not going to work, because he had many adventures. But guess what? I always say, whatever you need, I'm there. Push you to your dreams. Push, because we all need somebody. We all need someone. You can push somebody to their dreams. They already have their dreams, but you can keep them motivated. Keep them saying, I believe in you. Keep encouraging them to keep going. Don't give up on your dreams. I don't care how bad it looks.
My dad was a dreamer. I remember selling fruit. I remember selling them neon short sets. I remember socks. I remember cleaning bank. I remember you standing behind him and beside him in all of his business ventures. And I was talking to my uncle the other day, and I was asking him some opinion on some things, and he was like, "Man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this." And at the end of the conversation, I said, "I'm my father's child. I can't die with the vision in my mind and never try to manifest." And I think a lot of times in marriage, people die with a vision that never comes to manifestation because what you just said, didn't have the support to do it.
Didn't have the support.
You didn't have the support that's going to help you be better. You didn't have the support that's going to push you to your destiny. And that's I think that's a responsibility in marriage that I have to push her, and she's got to push me to who God is calling and commissioning us to be. So in this, you got to be able to be a pusher. Ma, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for finally checking the text messages after I told you on to look at them. And we are going to go. Shanae said, and this is for you, Ma. She said, "I love that man."
And he did. She did.
Yeah, that was her guy. They were together. She acted like she was us. That was her. He was love, but when you got a real relationship, everybody want to be around you. All right. I love you.
All right. I love you.
I love you. It's time for us to go because my 5-year-old is making her face known and saying she's hungry after she just had a bowl of cereal.
No, that's right.
Okay.
By choice.
By choice. So love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless you, Ma. We're gonna bring you back on. So just be mindful of your text messages. Love you.
Okay. I love y'all.
All right.